There is also now a renewed push in Albany to reduce the legal limit for driving while intoxicated.
It's an idea coming from two downstate lawmakers, but not everyone thinks it's a good idea. 2 on Your Side's Kelly Dudzik explains, new at 11.
Right now, the legal blood alcohol content, or BAC level here in New York, is 0.08. But 2 lawmakers in Albany think it should be lower because they say it will save lives. Assemblyman Felix Ortiz and Senator John Liu, both Democrats from the New York City area, are proposing a bill to lower the legal limit for driving while intoxicated to 0.05. For aggravated DWI, it would be reduced from 0.18 to 0.12.
The potential of this bill is real, and I hope that people take us seriously.
Similar bills have shown up in Albany over the past few years, but nothing's ever moved through the legislature. The National Transportation Safety Board recently recommended that states lower the legal limit. Utah became the first state to do that back in 2018, and both Ortiz and Liu think it just makes sense.
The experience gained in nations who have reduced their threshold from 0.08 to 0.05 have resulted in 10% reductions in fatalities related to DWI.
But not everybody agrees with the idea. Scott Wexler is the executive director for the Empire State Restaurant and Tavern Association. He says this isn't going to stop the problem.
It's unlikely to make much of a difference in New York. You notice that in discussing the statistics, they didn't break down the number of crashes of people between 0.05 and 0.08. I believe that's because it's such a small percentage.
The American Beverage Institute also thinks it's a bad idea, calling it an attack on the restaurant and hospitality industries, and says it will convert their responsible customers into criminals. If you want more information on the proposal, head to our website, or you can download the free 2 on Your Side app. Kelly Dudzik, Channel 2 News.